Hey, folks, welcome back to the podcast. I'm glad to be here with you. Today is another EHR review episode. So, as usual with these EHR reviews, you'll probably get the most out of it if you go to the YouTube channel and watch the video. That way you can see what I'm doing on the screen and where I'm clicking and so forth. But I do try to be pretty descriptive here in the audio version as well to give you a good idea of what I'm looking at. So today's star of the show is Blueprint AI. Blueprint AI is a relatively new EHR. As you can tell from the title, AI plays a prominent role, though as you'll see in the review, hard to tell how helpful that's going to be for us as testing folks versus therapy practitioners. So if you're a therapy practitioner, I would definitely give this a pretty close look. For testing practices, I am not quite so sold. It's a little bit of a mixed bag. So I'll talk through pros and cons and ways that it might work for a testing practice, issues you might need to overcome, and otherwise do a relatively thorough look at Blueprint AI. Hey folks, welcome back to another EHR review. Today's EHR star of the moment is Blueprint AI. Blueprint is another one of these AI-driven, AI-first EHRs. And Blueprint is interesting because of their pricing model initially. They have a free tier that is completely free that has a lot of the core free features that we would want in an EHR: billing, scheduling, notes, etc. And then from there, they have a pro and a plus tier that charge by the session, not by, a flat monthly fee, which is pretty typical for most other EHRs. So it's either 99 cents a session if you want to add a few features, or $1.49 per session if you want to add a lot of features. And then they have an enterprise plan as well. So this initially caught my eye because, one, it's a newish EHR. It has some AI components, and also because of the pricing, like I said. So if we are doing testing, let's say that you are doing 8 evaluations a month, and there are 4 sessions per evaluation. So 4 appointments that you put into the calendar. That's about, 30 to 35 appointments, which will land you around somewhere around $30 to $50 a month for an EHR for a solo practitioner, which is on the cheaper end, certainly, whereas most of the others are coming in around maybe $60, maybe $70, maybe $90. This is something to consider. All right, so as always with these EHR reviews, I am not doing a super deep dive, right? This is meant to be a first impressions review where I log in, I sign up for the system, I jump in and comment on the immediate user friendliness for a testing practitioner. So that's where we're at. We've got Blueprint. I have hit the sign up button, and this is the next screen that we see. I filled in a couple options here. It's just asking practice name, what EHR I currently use, whether I'm solo, in a group, or practice owner, and then how many clinicians are in the practice. Then I'm going to hit get started here. All right. So we built Blueprint to give you less admin and more presence before, during, and after every session. Pick a starting point. Okay. So this sounds good. This is interesting, actually, that it's allowing you to prep for an upcoming session, turn a session into notes, or set up Blueprint as my EHR. I'm not sure what the use case would be to just jump into using Blueprint as a tool for a one-off session or turning a session into notes. Maybe that's part of the use case they're going for, but I'm going to pick set up Blueprint as my EHR. Okay, so y'all know that I love a good onboarding sequence. And the first thing that it brings us to is this screen that helps us set up the whole software. So it says, tell us about your practice, enter the practice name, logo, organization NPI number. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to put in a fake EIN. There we go. All right. We'll do save and continue. This is great. Oh, it's asking for individual NPI. That's also great. Some of you might be wondering, why am I putting this in on a public video? Well, NPI lookup is public. So there's a public database. Asking your taxonomy code. Let's see if I can find this quickly. I'm trying to scroll to Psychologist. Yeah, there we go. Okay, great. Licensure, I am licensed. Is PhD an option? Yes. All right, we'll do that. All right. Great. Okay, so this is pretty easy. You can add multiple licenses. That's kind of cool. All right, we're just working through the location. I'm just setting all this up, one, to see what the onboarding looks like and the setup looks like, but also because presumably, here we go. It's making me choose my address from a drop-down, which I kind of like. It's formal and structured. Okay. So I really like this right off the bat. During this onboarding process, if you're listening rather than watching, it's taking me through practice info, clinician credentials, location, and now services. So let's see. It has some CPT codes built in where you can enter your rates. So it does have a 90791. I'm going to go ahead and put in the rate for that. I'll just go through and put these rates in, but let's see, that's fine. Okay. Now, it says you can always add and edit services and specify rates by payer in settings. So I'm going to hold for now and see what the rest of this onboarding looks like and if it gives us a chance to do our own custom CPT codes. All right. So we did services. Now it takes us to client forms. So browse and add form templates to your library. I really like this. There's a good faith estimate. I'm going to add that. Intake questionnaire for adults. I'll go ahead and add that. Consent for telehealth, release of info, practice policies, privacy practices, consent for use of AI tools. Really like that. And financial policy and agreement for services. Okay, awesome. There are a couple others that I did not add. All right, bank account information. All right, so I'm not going to set this up right now, but it teams up with Stripe. So you enter your business info and banking details using Stripe. This is actually really easy. Just by coincidence, I set up a Stripe integration with another service that pays me earlier this morning. So I can comment on that directly. It's very easy to set up your bank account with Stripe and get paid securely. So we are going to skip that and go to, then finally it says import your data. And it does say import your therapy notes data because I already put in that information. Import data, start fresh. I'm going to go ahead and start fresh. We're not going to import any of my data. And this is the last step in the onboarding process. So it goes to a screen, says you're ready to use Blueprint. So I can go to the dashboard or I can get personalized guidance from the team, a 30-minute call, by scheduling a call. I'm going to open that link in a new tab. And yeah, it just goes to a kind of common calendar app. Looks like, okay, so the first available to schedule a call is a little over a week away. I'd like it to be a little sooner, if I'm trying to set up a new EHR, but it's nice that you can book it right there. All right, let's go to the dashboard. Okay, so what we have here, the dashboard defaults to your calendar, and I'm noticing right away, so funny, the client names that EHRs populate as their test clients. And John Appleseed is a very common one. All right, so what do we do here? There's not a lot to know where to go from here. So I'm just looking around there. The buttons up at the top, there's calendar, sessions, billing, clients. Up in the top right, of course, you have your account settings. Then we have buttons to create an event or a new session. Curious what the difference is between those. You have some calendar settings, and then there's a little box over on the side that says make space for your day, set your availability and booking hours. And then you can add other calendars. So this looks like it takes us into other settings. or the full settings menu. So just to comment on this briefly, you can link external calendars so that everything syncs up. So they've got Google, Outlook, iCal, Simple Practice, Headway, Alma, and Therapy Notes. And that's super interesting that it will actually connect calendars from other EHRs, which again makes me wonder about the use case and why you would be having two EHRs. But maybe Blueprint is trying to position themselves as an add-on to other EHRs as well. We're not really going to dive into that because we're trying to use it as our primary EHR. All right, so I'm going to go back to the calendar. So they have a test appointment set up here. Looks like I cannot drag this appointment around, which is kind of a bummer. But whenever you mouse over the calendar, you can create new events. Let's see, sessions. If you click on sessions, that just gives you a list of your upcoming sessions. Billing takes you to a screen that defaults first to invoices. There is also a tab for claims and insurance payments. This looks relatively robust. And there is a clients tab as well. So I'll tell you what, before we dive into all of this, I'm going to go ahead and go through the settings per usual on these reviews. All right, so I'm going to start at the top. My account, profile, and credentials. Already set some of this up. Now, okay, that sounds good. I'm just, it has you enter your name, email, license type, clinician credentials, which we already entered, your license, and your telehealth link. Okay, so they have telehealth built in, and it gives you a custom URL or web address that you can give to your clients. Going to notifications now. Choose when Blueprint keeps you in the loop. So you can have Blueprint notify you when a client completes an assessment, when a client is transferred to you, enters your telehealth waiting room, finishes an intake questionnaire, or self-schedules an appointment. That's cool. Again, you can import data from other EHRs. There is a referral program where you get session credits starting at 300 credits all the way up to 1,000 credits for 5 referrals. They also have an affiliate program if you are doing any of that. And then there is, this is interesting. There's a snippets feature where you can insert a custom pre-written piece of text by typing a shortcut and then the snippet name. So I'm gonna do a let's see. I'm gonna do a new snippet. So this is something that I type in quite a bit into our notes: supervisor case review and report editing. So I'm gonna create that snippet and use that later. Okay, scheduling settings. You can get client notifications here. So Blueprint will automatically send appointment reminders to your clients based on these selections. You could do email or text or both. You can set up to 3 reminders, and you can specify the time frame. So first reminder, anywhere from 1 week to 2 days beforehand. Second reminder, anywhere from 1 day to 12 hours beforehand. And then the third reminder, anywhere from 30 minutes to 4 hours ahead of time. So I like that. I think reminders are important. Does not look like there is any way, at least at this point, to customize the reminder text or information. Availability, you can set your availability. So let's say I am not working on Tuesdays and Thursdays because that's when I do my consulting. And I like to be off at 3, especially during the summer, so I can go to the pool. Fridays, I'm only working until noon. Okay, so that's pretty easy. I'm going to save my availability. Presumably that's going to populate on the calendar as well. Another setting here for external calendars. We already jumped into this a little bit. Looks like there's two-way sync. Billing settings. We've got services and fees. This is where some magic is going to happen. I'm going to go ahead and create a new service. CPT code 96132. We will call this test interpretation and report writing. First hour, it's 60 minutes. This is going to be $250 an hour. Self-scheduling. Oh, this is interesting. So you can do self-scheduling by CPT code. You can choose whether you want clients to be able to self-schedule. So this is helpful if you maybe want to use this for feedback sessions. All right. I'm going to say no, though, at this point and create that. All right. Pretty straightforward. Let's go ahead and work through the rest. Test admin and scoring additional 60 minutes. There is nowhere to specify whether this is an add-on code or not. So I'm curious how this is going to play out when we get to that point. I'm going to go ahead and enter test admin and scoring first 30 minutes. All right. And this is really easy, y'all, by the way. I'm just adding all of our CPT codes, entering the last one right now. Test admin and scoring, additional 30 minutes. Great. All right. I'm actually going to go edit one of these, the 96133, because I called it test admin and scoring. That's not correct. This is test interpretation and report writing. Okay, so that was easy. All right, great. So we've got our services in here. Okay, payer enrollment. This is where we add insurance payers. All right. I'm going to click through this. I don't know that I'll be able to go all the way through this, just given that this is a demo situation. But let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and put in our NPI and see if that helps. Okay. So this enrollment looks pretty easy. And I'm just putting in some basic info here. It is guiding me through the enrollment for this, this payer, the sample payer. So let's do that. All right, billing profile. Okay, this is good. And then it asks you if you want to run eligibility checks and send insurance claims and then receive ERAs. Okay, we would want to do all those things, but again, this is a sample. All right, so let's see what happens when we try to add, let's just say Aetna. All right, so all the options for Aetna pop up. This is the kind of classic Aetna. All right, and yeah, I like how it gives you these options right away, whether you want to run eligibility checks, send insurance claims, and receive ERAs and auto post payments. That's actually really cool. I'm not going to enroll because I think that would mess up my actual enrollment with my regular EHR. Okay, billing profiles. So manage the NPIs and identifies your practice uses for claim submissions. Okay, so you can change this up if you need to. This might be helpful if you had like multiple locations with different NPIs and that kind of thing. All right, now we're moving down to the general settings. This is where you add your logo, your clinic name, your phone number. You can add, billing and tax info, billing address, office locations. Oh, and you can specify the place of service for insurance. This is helpful. Telehealth locations. Let's see if we can add, okay, yeah. So you can add not just the native telehealth, but you can also do Google Meet, which is what we do. So you can put in your permanent like meeting URL for Google Meet if you use that, or Zoom or Doxy, or a custom URL if you're using some other service. All right. That is cool. Again, I'm not going to go through all of that, but I like that it's flexible and you can add different telehealth options. All right. Users. Okay. Lots of users here. You cannot invite a user. That's interesting. So it says coming soon to invite a user. I'm not sure what to do with this then. As the practice owner, I would really like to add individuals to my practice, and I'm not immediately sure how to do that. This is where you can specify roles for each user, though. There's clinician, supervisor, and admin. But again, I'm not sure how to add additional users, so I'm going to skip that. Okay, so progress notes, you can do a default progress note type. It has all the kind of classics. That's interesting. It gives you the option to do progress note templates from other EHRs. So Therapy Notes progress note is an option. That's very interesting. Again, the way that they are integrating with other EHRs is curious, but I kind of like it. You can also choose therapy note, intake note. All right, session summaries. Generate session summaries for clinician use. This is an AI feature. I'm going to leave it on just to see what it does. And then there is a custom note template builder that we can use. So let's do this. I'm just going to call this a testing note. All right, I'm going to model this after the note that we write in therapy notes. Reason for referral, purpose of evaluation. I'm going to say tests administered and evaluation procedures. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't have super robust. Yeah, the only options for templates are therapy or prescriber. Let's see what the prescriber, that doesn't really do anything. Okay, so I'm going to keep this as a therapy template. Yeah, it doesn't really give you great options for the note template. I would like some more options as far as matrix of boxes, like where you can input the time and the measure. I really like the way that Therapy Notes does this, and I want more customization here. But I did create a section called Tests Administered and Evaluation Procedures. So I'm going to type in a couple of things. And the promise here, it says, we'll learn your style and preferences as you use this template. So this is one of those AI features that Blueprint is touting. So I'm going to type in some information here to help the AI start to learn how I want to write these notes. All right, great. Testing note template created. Okay, there's a safety net setting. What is safety net? I've never seen this in an EHR. Manage the client safety net resources for your organization. Interesting. And then you have an option to show completed safety planning intervention on your note. Then you have a place to list specific crisis resources for your clients. Interesting. So it automatically pops up these crisis resources. I mean, I don't know that we'd have a huge use for this in testing, but this is a really interesting kind of feature. It's cool. All right, plan. This is your billing plan, payment method, billing information, etc. All right. We have a 30-day free trial here, by the way. You do not have to put a credit card in to do that. There's a forms section in the settings. So this is where you get to add any forms that you want to. This is where those forms that I added earlier are showing up, which is cool. Let's see, you can create a new form. You can either start from scratch and create your own, or you can import from a PDF, which I like. You can create packets, like they have an adult intake packet, and they have form templates that you can use as well. So I really like this. If you have a specific forms that you want to create, you could do that pretty easily and add them to packets, it looks like. And then there's finally bank and payments, which we already went through. Okay, great. So those are all the settings. I'm going to go back to the calendar. And I think at this point, we should be ready to create a client. All right, so I'm going to go to client. I'm going to add a client. Let's see, what should this client's name be? We'll do Mary. Why am I having a hard time thinking of a client name? We'll just do Mary Smith. That's very generic. Okay, date of birth. Mary is going to be 11 years old. You can select pronouns, which I like. Email and mobile. We're not going to enter those. All right, and here we have Mary. Let's click on Mary and see what this looks like. All right, takes us to a little window here. It defaults to the chart. And then across the center, we have billing, insurance status, assessments. We want to explore that for sure. Interventions, worksheets, and programs. All right, so let's go to assessments. Browse that assessment library. Okay, so this looks like a pretty standard assessment library of open source measures. I am going to assign let's just assign, I want to assign the Vanderbilt, but this is saying that it's a follow-up. I don't necessarily want a follow-up. So you can search the assessments, which I like. So let's see. This is just a follow-up. Let me see what this looks like. You can preview. All right. Okay. Yeah. So it's got the assessment built in. Great. This actually looks pretty straightforward. I don't know why they're calling it a follow-up, but I'm going to assign this to Mary. You can deliver it via email, which is cool. I'm going to go ahead and put my email in there. You can also assign it via text or both. Really like that. Looks like you can also customize, or at least you get a sense of what clients will see when you assign them a measure. All right, I'm going to assign this to Mary. All right. And it gives you a bunch of little prompts, which I actually like. If you need to add the insurance info, that's here. If you need to add a diagnosis, you can do that here. I'm going to hold off because that doesn't really match my workflow. And then you can also do a treatment plan or a discharge summary. You can add contacts on file. You can add an address here. Great. And then up here, lots of actions. Okay, so you can send forms, discharge summary, treatment plan, upload a file, add a chart note, download the assessments, manage the clinicians assigned, transfer the client, archive the client. Okay, I actually like this user experience. That seems really easy to me. New session. How do you want to capture the session? Write note yourself. Dictate session summary. That's really interesting. I'm just going to say, write the note myself. Handwrite a progress note. All right. Now we could do a testing note. Okay. This seems a little bit backward. I'm going to back out of this. Again, that doesn't really match my workflow. So I'm going to go back to the calendar. I'm going to create. Okay. I'm going to create an intake for Mary. Whoa. All right. Therapy intake. 9. Video office. Let's call this in person. All right. We're going to save that. Gives us a little preview. Send the invitation. So you can automatically send an invitation to the client for the event, which is cool. Okay, great. So Mary did the intake. Then it gives you, so when you can set the attendance, she showed up. And then it says, we have no session data for this appointment. How would you like to proceed? Dictate note, write note, or upload recording. I am going to write this note. And I'm actually going to do a therapy notes intake note just because that feels familiar. Presenting problem, risk. Oh, yeah, I forgot the therapy notes. The actual intake note is really big. So let's see. ADHD, none. I'm just going through this note. And crafting it just to see what pops up here. It saves the note automatically as you go through. Diagnosis note. I want a drop down here. I would like something different here. For the diagnosis. This is a problem I think with a lot of EHRs. You assign the diagnosis either separate from the note or don't have a drop-down menu to choose the diagnosis. So I just typed ADHD combined, and as we know, that's not the real diagnosis. So I'm curious what's going to happen here when we have to bill for this appointment. All right. So I went ahead and locked this note. Billing, the invoice was created. Now, maybe it would do a different workflow or give me a different option with the diagnosis if I was billing insurance. So let's see, if I start billing for Mary, this is where you can create and review claims and invoices. All right, so we have the invoice. This is where you can add modifiers. You can also add services. I'm going to take advantage of that in just a moment. There's no card on file. So then you can either save it or you can collect payment, like record external payment or send the invoice and a payment link, which is cool. Okay, let's go back. Let's go back for Mary. So I'm going to say Mary did her testing already. So this is going to be test admin and scoring first 30 minutes. This is in person. All right. So we've created that appointment, and then you can just drag the appointment, which I actually really like. So we're going to book this till 3:00. Gives you the option to update, and then we're going to say right after that, Mary stuck around for feedback. We're just going to do all of our appointments here. Test interpretation, report writing first hour. Great. Okay, so I'm getting used to this pretty quickly, which I like. Now, one thing I'll comment on, the user interface here is good. It feels easy, and it looks somewhat generic. I'll just be honest. It looks like that kind of vibe-coded interface. You see these little box, color highlights. It's kind of a vibe code, like a Claude tell, so to speak. But so it goes. Let's see here. So I've got a few sessions now. I'm not seeing any to-do list. And I would really like that. I would really like a to-do list. All right. Okay, so we can go ahead and write the note for these two appointments. All right. We're going to do a testing note. That was in person. So looks like this does not necessarily auto-populate. All right, so we're just going to say like whisk 75 minutes and Wyatt for this was a long one, 120 minutes, and we'll do, actually that's not, we'll just say questionnaires, 20 minutes. All right, just for the sake of writing this note. All right, so the note's been locked. The only thing here, it is a separate step, it looks like. So you have to go over to billing, then you have to click on the invoice, and then you have to click on separate CPT code. And yeah, this is interesting. So I don't see a super easy way to add multiple units. Like, I'm not sure how Blueprint is handling the add-on code situation, because I set the appointment for a 96136, then I added a 96137 as a separate service, but there's nowhere to specify the number of units. So I wonder if you have to go through and add you just have to keep adding. And that, frankly, would just be exhausting to have to add all of the hours of the add-on codes. So I'm going to go ahead and save that billing note. Invoice update failed, unknown error. I wonder if this is because I've added the same code several times, which again will be a testament to not handling add-on codes very well. Yeah. So that's a major downside in my mind. And maybe there's a different way to do it, but I can't figure out. All right. So back to the sessions list. Now, this is fine. It lists the 2 sessions that Mary has had, but it doesn't give any specifier as to the type of appointment via CPT code or name of the appointment or anything like that. So I can't tell if I've already written the note. I'm also looking on the calendar, and there's no indication on the appointment itself that I've already written the note or locked the note. And so to me, that is also a downside. Looks like there's no auto populate from note to note either. So even within the same client, this is a feature that I really like in therapy notes, for example. Once you enter the information like referral source and diagnosis and purpose of evaluation into the first note, it carries over to all other notes from that point forward. I'm having to type these in every single time, which I don't love. I'm just going to say NA feedback and report writing here for evaluation procedures. I'm going to lock this, and then, just for the sake of making this a little bit more realistic, I'm going to go add 1 unit of 96133. So again, I'm not sure. I can't figure out a great way to handle add-on codes. Yeah, and there's no designation that I've written the note or that these appointments are, locked or finished or anything like that. So I'm also not seeing a to-do list anywhere here. I would like to be reminded about the notes that I have to write and the tasks that I need to accomplish. So I'm going to go back to sessions. Yeah, I'm just kind of hoping for something different. Billing. Yeah. It does show my invoices, which, with the CPT codes, which is nice. Let's see. Yeah, there's still no great way that I'm seeing right off the bat to do add-on codes. So this is kind of a deal breaker as far as I'm concerned. All right. Also don't see much in the way of reports. So I'm talking like billing reports, analytics, anything like that. I'm trying to go through all the settings here, and don't see anything like that. Just clicking through, making sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, so unless some of these features are buried, let's see here. Yeah, I'm just clicking through the settings one more time to make sure that I'm not missing anything. And I can't find it. So let's go, let's try out this AI chat. Oh no, this is contact support and feature requests. Okay. What are these messages? No recent conversations. Okay. I thought maybe this was like AI chat. So I'm going to do one more thing just to see if this AI is learning anything. So I'm going to book another appointment for Mary. And we're going to do test administration and scoring. And we're going to see if the AI learns. Oh, I have to start the session. Oh, okay. It looks like I can drag appointments, which is great. And all right, I'm going to write this note, testing note. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not seeing any AI features. My understanding was that it was supposed to learn how I like to write. Maybe that comes with time. Okay, so I'm going to draw this EHR review to a close here. Really mixed bag. Ultimately, I would not consider this as an option for my practice. On the plus side, I really like the onboarding walkthrough. That was really simple and comprehensive. I like the user experience for the most part. I like the design. It's pretty simple. It's easy to work through. It's easy to add different CPT codes and rates. It has a lot of form templates and built-in open source questionnaires that you can send pretty easily. And I mean, the basic functionality is there, and presumably the AI features are kind of cool. Let's see. Oh, which I just found, by the way. Now you can give it instructions. So I'm sorry, I'm going to deviate back just for a second since I just found this AI chat feature. Note though, the AI chat was a little bit hard to find. It was a button down in the bottom left-hand corner, which is not like a natural place for my eye to go. So I'm going to say, help me prep for my next session, just to see what it does. It's checking my calendar. Says, I don't see any upcoming appointments on your calendar in the next 7 days. Okay, interesting. So I'm going to move this and move that over there. And I'm going to try this again. So I moved an appointment to the future. And I just told it to check again. So I'm going to see how smart this is. All right. So it's pulling up Mary's chart. It's building session prep. And yeah, this looks like it is maybe built in Claude. I don't know. The interface looks very similar. But so it gives me a session snapshot, test administration for ADHD evaluation, gives an immediate priority, gives a suggested agenda. It's kind of interesting. Not really useful, but interesting. It gives recommended resources, which includes the WISC-5 scoring manual and the WIAP-4 guidelines. And then clinical considerations like ensure adequate breaks, prepare feedback framework, and confirm any physician-provided observations. So this is all totally made up. I mean, this is a great example of like how AI just sort of makes things up. It's interesting. I don't know how helpful it will be for testing sessions. I'd be really interested to see what it, if we could somehow customize this or use it for feedback prep. I think presumably to do that, you would have to have something in the chart with the test scores and, evaluation data that you've gathered. Okay. So back to the summary, a lot of pros, little things like being able to choose pronouns, simple navigation, that kind of thing. The downsides though, unfortunately to me are like too much. So, the inability or seeming inability to do add-on codes really easily. The fact that note information doesn't carry over from note to note. There's no to-do list to keep track of your tasks as best I can see. So those things just in and of themselves are no-goes for me. And there was also that little thing where I couldn't figure out or wasn't able to invite any other member of the practice to the software, and I'm not sure what that's about. So, looks like Blueprint is working on, different features. The pricing, like I said, is pretty dynamic and interesting, where you purchase credits versus like a flat monthly fee. So you purchase sessions to cover your sessions, purchase credits to cover your sessions. And that's interesting. It could be fairly cost effective, but yeah, for me to really want to use this, I would need to see a little bit more robust feature set, especially on the billing and workflow side. So thanks as always for tuning in to this EHR review. Don't hesitate to go check out the others. There is quite a list now at this point of probably 10 to 12 EHRs, and I'll be adding to that list just about every month. So appreciate you being here and looking at Blueprint AI.